Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Rose and I am hiking the PCT this year. Since posting my announcement video, I have gotten a ton of questions from friends and family, so I figured I would just sit down and film a Q&A of sorts. Sure. So I guess here goes nothing. Why the PCT? Honestly, really good question, and I can't really answer it beyond the fact that I knew I wanted to do a long trail of some sort, and I grew up in New England, hiking in New England, specifically the White Mountains a lot, and in Maine and Massachusetts. And I just wanted to try something new. I had done a road trip through Southern California, Arizona, and Southern Utah a few years ago, and I had done a lot of hiking out there, and I know it's really different than a lot of the PCT, but I was just so excited about being west and being somewhere that was new to me that it really solidified my reasoning behind the PCT over, say, the AT or even just doing the long trail in Vermont. It's just something that is going to be new. I don't know, that seems like such a lame answer, but eventually I think I want to go for a Triple Crown depending on how this thru hike goes, but right now it is the PCT and then we'll see from there, but obviously the AT is not out yet. One trail at a time. I need to take one trail at a time. Why this year? That is a longer story than I care to get into right now, but in 2018 I found out about long distance hiking and specifically the PCT and decided that in 5 years time I was going to hike, so 5 years would be 2023. And I know it's turning out to be weather-wise a very interesting year and it's going to be a hard year, but I'm willing to try. I guess not willing isn't the right word, but I want to try. I want to follow through with this goal. Obviously, making sure I'm safe before anything else. So if I ever do feel unsafe, I'm not afraid to call a hike. How are you prepping? I'm just gathering gear right now and rock climbing as much as I can just to stay in shape. I haven't been doing too much hiking, which some people might think is not the way to do things, but I just didn't want to tire myself out or get sick of hiking before I was even out there, if that makes any sense. What was the permitting process like? So I can only speak for this year, and I know that the permitting process changed, but it was super easy. In October, you apply for a spot, like a lottery spot, and I think it was a day before the permits were released in November, you were sent a time, and that was the time that you could sign into, and I lucked out and mine was fairly early. I immediately went to Reddit, even though I don't use Reddit, just to see if anyone was posting about times, and I was at the front end of it, so I lucked out with an early time and had pretty much the pick of any day. I'm pretty sure I had the pick of any day, actually. I don't think there was a completely full day at that point. Nobo or Sobo? I am hiking Nobo. Favorite trail food? Sour Patch watermelon, hands down. What are you most excited about? Everything. I honestly can't pick one thing. Probably if I had to, the different national parks I will be hiking through. What's your plan for the snow? So from the start, I'm going to be carrying my micro spikes with me, even though I am a few weeks out from my start date and it looks like Southern California is going to be warming up pretty significantly, but I don't mind carrying the extra weight if it means that I'm going to be safe or if it means that there might be some snow in some sections further south than normal. And then honestly, I'm just going to take it day by day. I do have an ice axe. I got it before the snow was even really crazy out in California. So if I decide that I want it early, I will have someone send it to me before the Sierras. And then I think the question is more around what am I going to do about the snow in the Sierras. So my plan is, if and when I get to Kennedy Meadows, it's to hang out maybe for a day or two and just see if there's anyone turning back, or what trailer reports might be, or whatever is happening, and really gauge it from there. My initial thought, or what I'm planning right now, is just to do a flip-flop. I know that so many people are like, oh, continuous footsteps, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I would love continuous footsteps, but I also would love to not put myself in danger. So the plan right now, like I said, is just to flip north, maybe north of Tahoe, or even further north, depending on how bad the snow is, all the way up there come the time that I'm in Kennedy Meadows, and just take it day by day. I have bailed on winter hikes before in the Whites because I was breaking trail, or because it was too cold, or it just felt really unsafe. So I'm not above calling a hike, or calling a day, or calling a week, or a month, or mile, or whatever it may be. I'm not above it. I think safety really needs to be taken first, and the purist mindset of continuous footsteps needs to go out the window. I will say the snow is not what I'm most worried about, because I have done winter hikes. It's the river crossings. I think it's going to be a game of timing it correctly this year, where the rivers are lower, or there might still be significant snow bridges, which I know it's unsafe to cross on snow bridges. But it's just going to be a game of when is the best time and what are the conditions like. So, like I said, if I ever feel unsafe, I know my limits and I know when to call a hike, and I'm really just going to rely on that intuition and just keeping my pride in check and reassuring myself that it is okay to flip-flop this year. Did you get Taylor Swift tickets? That was my aunt asking me that one, and no, I did not. I didn't even try, but I did watch the internet meltdown that day. Tips for people who want to get into hiking or backpacking. I would say just do it. Just go out and just do it. Start with easier trails, but you're never going to know unless you try, and just know your limits. Set turnaround times if you are doing a bigger hike for the first time. That was something that I did before I was comfortable with night hiking or being in like rainy conditions or something like that. So just set a turnaround time, and honestly just go out and do it. Like, obviously prepare and do your research, but if I didn't just make the leap and decide to hike Mount Greylock when I was in college, I probably wouldn't be here now. So this has to be my favorite question that I got, and it's from one of my friends, and they asked crunchy or smooth peanut butter, with the note that there is a right answer, and the right answer is crunchy. There is no other answer. What about your job? That's a loaded question, and unfortunately I will be resigning from my job. It is not something I wanted to do. I was hoping for a leave of absence approval, but I work for this tiny little team, and we just could not make it work with having me gone for potentially 5 months. So unfortunately I do have to resign, but I am leaving work on really good conditions, or really good terms. So I'm hopeful that there might be something when I come back, or something within the greater organization that I work for. What are your 3 favorite letters in the alphabet? I would have to say PCT right now, but I'm a little biased. Favorite national parks? So I've only been to a handful, but I would say Joshua Tree and Zion was really good, and then most underrated that I've been to is Capitol Reef. Loved my time in Capitol Reef. Favorite park you'll be hiking through? Well, of all of the national parks I'll be hiking through, I've only been to one of them, and that's Sequoia. So I'll answer this. Favorite one, or one I'm most excited to hike through, is probably going to be Crater Lake. What camera do you shoot on? This one I actually had to write down because I cannot for the life of me remember it off the top of my head, but right now I'm shooting on a Panasonic Lumix DC-ZS70S. Say that 5 times fast. What meal do you think you'll get sick of first? Probably ramen. Thoughts on hiking with others? I am most excited to meet others on the trail. I think that was a question earlier that I was like, oh, I don't know how to answer. Yeah, I guess I'm really excited just to meet people, like-minded people, people that are working towards the same goal as me, and meeting new friends and hopefully having some really fun shared experiences. What is your resupply strategy? So I looked into sending boxes to myself in the towns that I'll be going into, and did not realize flat rate boxes were as expensive as they were. So my plan is to just resupply in the towns that I'm going to, but we'll see. I can always put resupply boxes together and bounce them forward, so that's not a big deal. Hostels and hotels, or camp as much as you can? I'm going to be camping as much as I can. I love sleeping outdoors. It's my favorite thing to do. There will be a couple days that I'll probably zero and stay in a hotel. I will need to shower or do laundry, so those will be hotel days, but for the most part, I want to camp. Gear. That's very vague, but there will be a bigger gear video coming, so stay tuned for that. And are you bringing any comfort items? Probably. I'll probably go into more detail in my gear video, which will be coming up next, where I'll go through my entire setup and more detail of how I acquired all of this gear. But if you have any questions for gear, drop them down below. I'll try and answer them in the next video. But for now, that's everything. That's all the questions my friends and family peppered me with over the last week or so. So feel free to drop me any more questions, and I am going to end this with just saying thank you for being here again, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.